Please write this down. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. If you remember when I was a hippie, if you remember when I was a beatnik, somebody sang that somewhere, somehow. Today is the first day of the rest of my life. And everything from this moment forward, believe this or not, can be a miracle. So I started my conversation with Bob with two assumptions. First of all, I don't know anything about business because I knew I didn't. I'd never been interested in business. And secondly, Bob did know something about business because he owned one. Now, those are very, very, very pragmatic and realistic assumptions. Given what I knew about my experience, and given what I believe to be true about his. How could anybody start a business and not know anything about business, I thought. So the only thing I had to do was to ask Bob questions, because he wasn't revealing anything from that point on. It was up to me, and I began to ask him questions out of my natural curiosity. So tell me, Bob, what do you do? So tell me, Bob, why do you do it? So tell me, Bob, how do you do it? So tell me, Bob, about your customer, about what you sell. And I was just naturally interested in following the conversation. By the time that hour was done, both of my assumptions were turned on their ear. First of all, I discovered I did know something about business, and that is that selling is a system. And secondly, I discovered that Bob didn't know anything about business, anything truly relevant or meaningful, that is, and Bob didn't know that selling was a system. I didn't learn until much later in this process that Bob didn't know that everything is a system. Please write that down. Everything is a system. Come dream with me. The world suffers not for lack of knowledge, but for lack of imagination. Your business suffers not for a lack of knowledge or a lack of systems, but a lack of imagination. Your life suffers not because of a lack of knowledge, but because of a lack of imagination. Einstein said, imagination is significantly more important than knowledge. You've got to be determined to. Without the desire, there will be no determination. The size of your desire determines the amount of determination, but without the determination, I wouldn't be standing here in front of you today, nor would Ray Kroc at McDonald's, nor would Bill Gates at Microsoft, nor would Anita Roddick at the Body Shop, who passed away a couple of weeks ago, nor would anyone who was absolutely determined to do something bigger than life. Most people are determined to do something smaller than life. Most people want to be a big fish in a small pond. Most companies have no meaning. The only meaning is fear and greed. Making a living, making it a living, making a living, making a living. Most people stay on the job working for people simply because it's a better alternative than being unemployed. Can you believe that? Making a living, making a living, making a living, making a living. Entire desperation. We wonder why we can't motivate people. Write this down. The myth of motivation. It's a whole nother subject. The myth of motivation. Hear this. It's not your job as the owner or the manager to motivate anyone. It's not your job to motivate anyone. It's your job to inspire them. It's their job to be motivated. The doctor is king. You understand? You go to the doctor, you need the doctor. I got to have a doctor. It's got to be a doctor. Essentially, I'm the doctor, right? And I get to do what I do when I choose and how I choose to do it. I know medicine, you don't. That's the sin of the expert. Please write it down. And understand your job in your company is to eradicate that sin. There are 3 essential systems in a practice. These are lead generation, lead conversion, and client fulfillment. Are you getting all this down? You are? Okay. You're not writing anything. Not writing a word. Huh? He's writing? You're not. Got it. Okay. Are you the boss? No? You work for him? He's writing. You don't work for him? Do you even know him? You do? Okay, good. Okay. Just checking it out. A saxophone teacher said to me, you heard this, I only teach people who want to become the best saxophone players in the world, and what you got to do is you got to practice. And so I've given instruction, and the instruction is very, very simple. Write down what I tell you to write down, because it may not be important here, but it's going to be important there, where you live. This is just a seminar. But if you don't write it down, you don't own it. And if you don't own it, you'll never do it. And if you never do it, you're paying a price. And the price is the life you don't have, which is the biggest price of all. Just thought I'd share that.